you can only have the courage to show up every single day when you can work through the thoughts and the emotions and the beliefs that would stop you from doing that.
That's one of many. And B, you exactly pinpointed that. There are going to be barriers. There are going to be things that get in the way, your own BS, your own belief systems. That needs to go, that needs to be challenged. And that's what courage looks like, showing up again and again, even when it don't look pretty.
Hey everybody, it's Bianca.
And it's Emilia.
Welcome to another episode of Evolve Ventures, where we are helping growth-minded humans evolve by breaking one limiting belief at a time. We hope you enjoyed the last episode, 237, Motivation Monday. Do this more often to feel better. For today, 238, do you want to feel more empowered? I am someone who never, up until the last, if we're really going to be honest, the last 3 months would not have identified myself as someone who is an empowered woman. I was doing a lot. I was growing, evolving, expanding, but that concept of being an empowered woman was not something that I identified with up until the last 3 months. And I, with full humility, will say that the only reason that I have gotten to that point was because of all of the work that I did, given the guidance that I was given by people like Emilia. So Emilia, when she and I met, was we've talked about the story a little bit about how we met, but when I met Emilia, I was so enamored by her. We were in the Muay Thai gym and I just saw her walk in, and it's when you see those people and you just know, it's oh, there's something about this person. I just want to gravitate towards them. Emilia was that for me. I saw her and I was oh my God, I love her already. And I could just tell I need to be friends with this person. I need to have her in my orbit. Mm-hmm. And the reason that was because of just the energy that she possessed. She walked into a room and it was you could tell that she just felt so confident and secure and empowered within herself, not in an arrogant ego way like you see a lot of women and a lot of people in general do, where it's I'm the shit and no one's gonna mess with me and anything like that. That's not real. It was real, true empowerment and true confidence that you could tell just stemmed from merit. And now this episode is not to boast about Emilia, but it's to really talk about.
You can do that.
Sorry, no, I'm not. We're not doing that today. No, I'm just being playful. But that's not the purpose of this episode. The purpose of this episode is to help all of you become that. So what were the tools and the systems and the things, honestly, that Emilia did to where she did embody that, to where she taught me to do that, and now I teach other people to do it? So we want to go from from the horse's mouth. Isn't that the phrase?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I think that's the second horse analogy I've used in the last couple of episodes that didn't work. Whatever.
We'll have to go. Yeah, we'll have to get to the farm and ask a farmer.
I think it's straight from the horse's mouth or something like that. Whatever. We're going to go right to the source. So, for this episode, what I asked you to prepare were the top 3 things that you have done, that you did with me, and that you've done with clients to help yourself and all of us be more empowered and to be the most just fully expressed versions of ourselves. So take it away, my friend, and let's dive in.
I appreciate you so much for saying that. And also, my heart is just swooning over the fact that I was that for you, because I've heard so many people say that. And when someone just walks in, you're magnetized to them. And it's really cool to hear the stories where someone has the humility to really actually say that uncannily. And I very rarely will ever have anyone say that to me, but I know that it's their truth. So anyways, it's really cool to be the magnet in the room. And it's really quite an honor to where someone feels that way because of the work that I have done behind the scenes when no one's looking, and honestly for no one else but me. And that's
Right.
one of the biggest things that I want to start this conversation for is when you can see that it's possible for someone to be that version of empowerment where you just see them and you know because they radiate an energy that's far further than them, and it's a bigger essence that they carry upon their shoulders and have in the stride and the step that they have and in the energy that they possess. It's bigger than them, and it's something that is almost like a cozy orb that you can come into and know that you can be your own version of that too. So I want to start by saying that it starts with you wanting to be empowered in your own version of empowerment, because that's what you're in right now, B. You're in your own version of empowerment, and it's so cool to see. And it's quite an honor to see the progression that you have had because of your humility to take and heed the guidance and actually do the work. And that's something that always for me is so one of my biggest blessings by being an empowered woman, right? So I did that work for me and for me alone. So as I guide and lead everyone that ultimately is in my orbit, I by default will help them unconsciously do that for them too. If you want to be empowered and if you want to feel more empowered, it cannot be from any other source than because you want to do it for you. That's fundamental to all of what I'm about to say in terms of how we go about doing that. Okay, so
I'm so glad you started there. If you're trying to do this for somebody else, it will not work. Mm-hmm. It's just like, actually, that's not really a good example, but yeah.
It's the difference between real empowerment and fake empowerment. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It has to be for you. That's why I said within the last 3 months for me, it's actually started kicking in because I'm not doing it for anybody else anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm truly doing it just for me. And I know that everything that I want in my life will come as the byproduct of that. I'm not focusing on becoming more empowered so I can get all of this stuff. I want to be empowered as I am. And as a secondary byproduct, everything is going to come. So what is your step number 1 when it comes to this?
Distinction prior to that first step is exactly that. To be empowered means you radiate from the inside out for no one else other than you and future you. When you are seeking to be empowered for something or someone else, that's where you actually are seeking to be in power, not empowered, but in power of someone, something else. Yep. I-N power, 2 separate words. So step number 1, really when we look at it high level, if I want to feel empowered, well, it starts, quite frankly, by having clarity. I broke it down to 3 C's because that's going to be helpful for all of us to remember. And this is what we do. This is what I do. If you're in my orbit, you will be more empowered, period, because it's the culmination of what these 3 C's do. And B, you are a great example because look at the compound effect of the 3 C's in your world. So number 1 is clarity. It is something, it is a vibe when you get in a room with someone. And I want all of our listeners to think about it. So B, when you first saw me, you knew on some unconscious level that I knew exactly what I wanted. And I knew it, and I was unapologetic about it.
Hey everybody, I just want to take a minute to talk about my experience with the Evolve Venture Society. They are a wonderful group of people who allow you to communicate in an open and honest way, and they're very supportive and full of positive energy. You can ask anyone for help. You can talk to anyone and ask for questions, and they're very supportive, and all they do is just help you to become the best version of yourself. And if anything, all I want to do is just learn more from this amazing group of people, and I think that they will help anybody who needs it, and that's the best thing that anybody can ask for.
It was like you knew what you wanted, but you also had that aura of like, and I know how to do it, and I'm going to get there. You know, it was just like that. Again, that's why I was just so gravitated to you, because it's so rare that you see anybody like that. You know, it's like you were just, you could tell that you were the only person in that room who truly was just there for your own sense. I don't even know what other word to use. It was just like, I'm here for me, and I know why I'm here for me. That ultimate clarity.
Yeah. Huge. And that clarity really comes in the kind of soft underbelly, which comes when you know what you want unapologetically, which is this first C of clarity, is like you have to release yourself. A byproduct of that, or I'm sorry, a precursor to that is releasing yourself from any fear of judgment from anyone else, including yourself, right? Because how often are we judging ourselves based on what we want? And then honestly releasing yourself by any judgment or fear around not fitting in or your fear of failure. So that is what's going to really contribute to your ability to get that clarity for yourself. If you release yourself from that fear, not only will you vibe different, but inevitably you will stride different. And that stride is empowerment. It's a big, big difference. And you can see the delta when you walk and you see someone. That's the biggest difference. They have clarity and you don't. They have clarity and other people around them don't. And it's because they're willing to release themselves from that judgment of themselves, others, from fitting in, and from whatever judgment is going to come from them just being unapologetically them.
It's like when you're in a gym and you see someone who you know, like they're super in shape. They know exactly what they're doing. They're hitting a specific muscle, and you know they know exactly why they're doing every movement that they're doing, versus maybe someone who is a newbie in the gym and doesn't really know what they're doing and they have no idea. The level of confidence and the level of certainty and empowerment in the person who does know what they're doing is so much higher, because they know why they are there and they know why they need to do the thing that they're doing. So that is step number one.
And that's the biggest distinction. You had said, it's like I almost knew the how I would get there. What's ironic is that I didn't know necessarily all of the hows. I just trusted in the fact that I'd figured out, because I released myself of that fear of failure. So long as you have that why, and that's where that why power really is a big component, that's the essence that I was carrying. I knew the why for me. That clarity, boom, got that unlocked. So then what's step number 2? When you have the why and you release yourself of the fear of judgment from yourself and from others, you release yourself of the fear of not fitting in, you release yourself from the fear of failure. Okay, now how do I show up in that clarity? And this is what you've been doing beautifully. You've had the courage to do so, and the courage to actually demand that respect from others unconsciously by letting your actions speak for themselves, not the words saying, I'm this empowered woman, I'm this, I'm that, right? Cool identity level. Your actions speak for that. And that's because you have the courage, C number 2, to show up again and again, which is going to be number 3, again and again in what your standards are, because of that clarity. And if you didn't have that clarity, you wouldn't be able to lean into that courage to be like, you know what, this is me. I have my why, and I'm going to show up like this badass version of myself. And if you don't like it, you can hop off. If you do, awesome, jump on. Let's go, right? Gas me up. And that takes a lot of courage, because some people, quite frankly, when you have clarity, there's a lot of people that don't like you. There are a lot of people that are not a fan of Emilia, and that's totally okay.
She got haters.
It's all good. It's all good. And honestly, like, it takes a lot of courage to show up this version of empowered female in my life, because it unconsciously is casting shade on people who do not feel empowered. And people hate people that are empowered because they're in the phase of seeking power. And that's where this will not go.
Yeah. I think a really big component of that, or a really big aspect of the courage component, is, you know, there's so many layers underneath that. And we've done so many episodes talking about courage and how do you build courage and where does it come from. A really big component of this is the belief structures that you have about yourself and what you're doing to really work through them. So the only reason why I'm able to show up every single day doing the things that I'm doing is because every day I'm working through the limiting beliefs that I have about myself.
Yes.
I'm working on my environment around me and making sure that I have really great people in my life. I'm working on my trauma responses. I'm doing all of the work necessary underneath so that I can show up, so that I can really unapologetically be here and do the work and maintain that level of clarity. So we're breaking this down into 3 steps. And in each of those 3 steps are things underneath it. And we've done so many episodes touching upon that, which is why we're not diving super deep into it here. But for that courage component, what I really would say is you can only have the courage to show up every single day when you can work through the thoughts and the emotions and the beliefs that would stop you from doing that. So for me, it was like, I'm not good enough. I'm not capable. I'm not competent. Okay. What is the courageous thing to do? Come and try to do it anyways. Work through that emotion, work through that belief, work through all of these things. And that allowed me to be more courageous and more courageous and more courageous. And the more courage I built, the more examples I had of what I was capable of. And that built that sense of empowerment, of fulfillment, of I might not know how, I might not be able to do it yet, but I know I can get there.
I have a client in mind right now who is at a level where she feels so empowered that she's saying no to so many things that a past version of her would have said yes to.
That's awesome.
Would have consented to, and then she would have felt crap afterwards. And she's saying no and being unapologetic for it. The level of empowerment and respect that she has for herself, like, man, if I could put that on a scale, so freaking proud of her. That's one of many. And B, you exactly pinpointed that. There are going to be barriers. There are going to be things that get in the way, your own BS, your own belief systems. That needs to go. That needs to be challenged. And that's what courage looks like. Showing up again and again, even when it don't look pretty. So number 3, on this empowerment kick, if you want to feel more empowered, it really comes down to the 3rd C, which is consistency. I know the feminine energy hates consistency. It feels cagey. It feels boxy. Trust me, I know. However, we also unconsciously know that it is absolutely essential for cultivating the discipline around this feedback loop, which is how do I continuously cultivate this level of empowerment? And that is where the consistent action is. That's where you showing up for yourself, regardless of anyone else. You showing up behind the scenes when no one's looking, when no one's watching, and when no one is there to cheer you on. You cheer yourself on again and again and again. You become your very own best friend, and you cultivate what that looks like within your parts. And that is an absolute essential, because ultimately you are the only you. You know where you're kind of steering off the path. You know when you're on point, and you are there to celebrate yourself or not if you choose to. So consistently showing up in that energy again and again, that's putting yourself in the ring to be able to cultivate. And if you do step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, again and again, what that builds, it's like sedimentary rock. It builds a giant mountain. So tons of layers stacked up over time. You're looking at Mount Everest. So you be your own version of Mount Everest, and know that every single day it's because you showed up for yourself.
Well said. Episode suggestion?
Get so lit up by this. All right.
I know you do. You're like busting through the screen. You're like, yeah! You're like bouncing up and down and everything.
I will empower you. It's so funny because like when people get out of my orbit, it's like the level you can see the like disempowerment kind of fade out over time. And it's like, damn, yeah, that was me. All right. So number 230, how to be happy regardless of your relationship status. That one I really am so excited for everyone to listen to, because B, you really talked authentically and vulnerably in this, which was like, you know what? It doesn't matter where you are in a status. You can still be happy. And there's nothing more like a bigger, more honest flex than feeling empowered in a relationship status that you define without anyone, regardless of that. What's your final takeaway and episode suggestion?
Number 41, self-belief. Where does it come from? Friends, if feeling empowered is something that you struggle with, if feeling like you are in charge of your life is something you struggle with, we have so many resources here at Evolve that can help you take the step in the right direction. If you're not ready for one-on-one coaching yet, that is absolutely okay. We have so many podcasts. We have free live events where you don't even need to show your face or put your audio on. I mean, not your audio, put your mic on. We have YouTube episodes. We have, our website. We have articles. There's so much available to you. If you are ready for coaching, if you are ready to take that like deep dive into, okay, you know what? I want to be my most empowered self. I need to talk to these ladies. Please reach out to us. The link is in the show notes for the link to get on our calendar. If you want to slide in the DMs, we are all about going down in the DMs, and we hope to hear from you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.